The cold wind bit sharply against the worn fabric of Maya's coat as she crouched near the corner of 7th and Main, a bustling intersection in the heart of the city. The late afternoon sun was dipping behind towering skyscrapers, casting long shadows that stretched like dark fingers over the cracked pavement, littered with scraps of paper and forgotten cigarette butts. The city's hum pulsed around her. Honking cars, hurried footsteps, distant sirens. But to Maya, it felt like a world apart, an indifferent backdrop to her silent, unseen struggle. Her hands trembled slightly as she held out a small, battered paper cup, the faded lettering barely visible. Inside, a few loose coins rattled faintly, but it was never enough. The sweet, greasy smell drifting from a nearby food truck teased her senses, reminding her of the hunger gnawing beneath her ribs, a dull ache that had become a constant companion. She kept her eyes down, avoiding the harsh gazes of passers-by, many of whom hurried on without a glance, wrapped in their own lives, their own worries. A crumpled sandwich wrapper lay near her feet, a remnant of someone's discarded meal. Maya's eyes flickered to it, a pang of shame mixed with yearning tightening her chest. The thought of scavenging it made her stomach churn, but survival had its bitter demands. The city was a relentless place, and she had learned to blend into its background, invisible yet always on edge, every noise and shadow a potential threat. Despite the chaos around her, the blaring horns, the shouting street vendors, the rush of feet on concrete, a quiet determination simmered beneath Maya's exhaustion. Somewhere beneath the dirt and despair was a young woman who had not given up, someone who still clung to hope, fragile but fierce. Tonight, as the city's lights flickered on, the neon signs buzzing to life and casting a kaleidoscope of colors on rain-slicked sidewalks, Maya's life was about to change in a way she never imagined. She took a shivering breath, tucked her chin tighter into her coat, and whispered to herself, "One day, just one day." The words felt fragile, almost like a prayer lost in the wind, but they were her lifeline. She could almost imagine a different world, a world where warmth replaced the biting cold, where laughter filled the empty spaces in her heart, and where the weight of invisibility lifted from her shoulders. For now, though, she remained crouched on the concrete, the city's restless energy swirling around her like a storm that she was determined to weather. Maya's life had once been filled with promise. She had been a gifted student, the first in her family to attend university, a beacon of hope for her mother and younger siblings. Raised by a single mother who juggled multiple jobs, Maya knew the value of hard work and education. Her textbooks, though worn and often secondhand, had been her refuge, a world where she could escape the harsh realities of her neighborhood, where dreams were whispered beneath the hum of flickering fluorescent lights in the library. She remembered the nights spent poring over notes, the smell of old paper mingling with the faint scent of coffee, the quiet determination in her heart. She had imagined a life beyond cramped apartments and endless bills, a life where she could make a difference. The worn pages of her notebooks held not just facts and formulas, but the sketches of a future she longed to build for herself and her family. But life had a cruel way of unraveling. After her mother fell ill, first a persistent cough, then a diagnosis that sent shockwaves through their fragile world, medical bills piled up like an insurmountable mountain. The fragile support system crumbled. Evicted from their small apartment, Maya found herself homeless, clinging to the edges of the city she once navigated with confidence and dreams. She carried her books in a tattered backpack, a symbol of the future she still dreamed of but seemed further away each day. Her daily routine was a tightrope walk, classes by day, searching for shelter by night. She studied in libraries and coffee shops, avoiding the judgmental eyes that lingered on her scruffy appearance. The city's cold indifference weighed heavily, the whispers and stares like invisible chains, but Maya refused to let it define her. Her friends had drifted away, unable or unwilling to understand her struggle. Messages went unanswered, invitations ceased. Loneliness wrapped around her like a second skin. Yet Maya's spirit remained unbroken, fueled by a quiet resilience and the memory of her mother's unwavering belief in her. Each day was a battle, but she resolved to fight for her education, for a chance to rewrite her story. She often recalled her mother's voice, a steady, loving presence. Even in the darkest moments, "You're stronger than you know, Maya. Don't ever forget that." The first signs of change came subtly. Maya's grades began to slip as exhaustion clouded her mind. Sleepless nights on park benches left her drained, the cold seeping into her bones, turning her fingers numb and her thoughts sluggish. Professors noticed her fading presence, but she avoided their questions, hiding behind polite smiles and vague excuses. One chilly evening, as she begged near a crowded cafe, the warm glow of the interior spilling onto the sidewalk like a beacon, a man's voice startled her. "You shouldn't be out here alone," he said gently, his tone kind but cautious. Maya looked up to see a well-dressed stranger, his eyes kind but cautious, framed by the soft lines of someone who had seen hardship but chosen compassion. He handed her a wrapped sandwich and a bottle of water, the simple gift heavy with unspoken understanding. "I'm Ethan," he introduced himself, his voice steady. "I run a charity nearby. You can come by if you need help." Maya's heart pounded in her chest, a mix of hope and suspicion swirling within her. She wanted to believe in kindness, but years of hardship had taught her to be wary. Still, the warmth from the food and his genuine expression stirred something inside her, a flicker of hope amid the darkness. That night, as she ate the sandwich beneath a flickering street lamp, the city's ambient noise softened into a distant murmur. The taste of warm bread and melted cheese was almost foreign, a luxury she hadn't known in weeks. She closed her eyes, savoring each bite, and wondered if this encounter could mark the beginning of change. The cool night air carried faint smells of rain and exhaust, but for a brief moment, Maya felt enveloped in a cocoon of safety, a fragile shield against the harshness of the world outside. Days later, Maya found herself standing outside a glamorous building, the headquarters of a philanthropic foundation run by Ethan, the billionaire who had handed her the sandwich. The towering glass facade reflected the late morning sun, gleaming like a promise. She clutched the torn flyer he had given her, advertising a program to support homeless students, her fingers trembling slightly. Inside, the marble floors gleamed, and the air smelled of fresh coffee and polished wood, a stark contrast to the harshness of the streets. Maya's nerves twisted in her stomach as she waited in the sleek lobby, her worn shoes tapping softly against the cold floor. When Ethan arrived, his presence filled the room, confident but approachable, a warm smile lighting his face. "I know your story," Ethan said softly, his voice steady but compassionate, "and I believe in second chances. I want to help you finish your education, provide a place to stay, and support you every step of the way." Maya's eyes filled with tears, disbelief mingling with hope. She blinked rapidly, trying to steady her breath. Could this be real? Was this billionaire's kindness a lifeline or a momentary respite? As the city's noise faded behind the glass walls, Maya stepped toward a future she had only dared to imagine, a future where her dreams might finally take flight. "Thank you," she whispered, voice thick with emotion. "I won't let you down." The soft hum of the building's air conditioning and the distant murmur of office conversations faded into the background as she clung to that moment, a fragile bridge from despair to possibility. The next morning, Maya woke in a small, sunlit room provided by Ethan's foundation. The scent of fresh linen and the quiet hum of the city outside felt almost surreal, a stark departure from the cold, damp corners she had called home. She stretched, feeling a warmth in her bones that had been absent for too long, sunlight filtering softly through the sheer curtains. Ethan's team had arranged for her enrollment in a tutoring program and connected her with a counselor. As she walked through the foundation's offices, the walls adorned with photographs of past students who had overcome adversity, Maya felt a tentative spark of belonging. The smiles in the pictures seemed to whisper encouragement. Her first meeting with a mentor, Sarah, was encouraging. Sitting across from Maya in a cozy office filled with books and soft light, Sarah listened intently as Maya shared her struggles and aspirations. Her voice was gentle, her eyes empathetic. "We're here to support you," Sarah said firmly. "This is your chance to rebuild." Maya's hands trembled with a mixture of fear and excitement. The road ahead was daunting, but for the first time she was not alone. She clutched her backpack, now filled with new books and hope, ready to face the challenges ahead. Outside, the city pulsed with life, children laughing on the street, vendors calling out, the distant rumble of trains. But Maya's world was beginning to shift, one small step at a time. The faint aroma of fresh coffee from a nearby cafe mingled with the crisp morning air, signaling a new dawn not just for the city, but for Maya herself. Despite the support, Maya's journey was far from easy. Balancing her studies with the trauma of homelessness tested her resilience daily. Nights of restless sleep left her exhausted, the weight of past fears pressing down like an invisible shroud. Moments of self-doubt crept in like shadows, whispering that she wasn't good enough, that she didn't belong. One afternoon, a harsh winter rain soaked through her jacket during a walk to campus, the cold droplets cooling the warmth she'd fought to build. Her phone buzzed with a message from a classmate, an invitation to a study group. Maya hesitated, fingers hovering over the screen, unsure if she belonged in a world so different from hers. Financial worries lingered, despite the foundation's help. Small expenses piled up, bus fare, school supplies, even basic toiletries. Each coin counted, each purchase a tightrope walk. Maya feared slipping back into despair, the weight of her past pressing heavily on her chest. At times, the city's indifference felt suffocating. Passers-by ignored her presence and whispers followed her footsteps, a mix of pity and judgment. Yet, Maya clung to Ethan's words and the flickering hope within her. Each obstacle was a test of her strength, but Maya's resolve deepened. She would not let hardship define her future. "I'm stronger than this," she whispered to the cold wind. "I will rise." The smell of wet asphalt and damp leaves after the rain reminded her that even after storms the earth renewed itself, and so could she. As weeks passed, Maya's relationship with Ethan and the foundation deepened. Ethan visited regularly, sharing stories of his own struggles and victories, breaking down the distance between their worlds. His laughter was warm, and his encouragement steady. Sarah became a steadfast friend, guiding Maya through academic challenges and personal doubts. Together, they navigated scholarship applications, housing options, and the complexities of student life. Sarah's reassuring presence was a balm to Maya's weary spirit. Maya also connected with other students facing similar hardships. In a small, dimly lit community room, the group gathered around a worn wooden table, sharing stories, tears, and laughter that echoed long into the night. These bonds became lifelines, a reminder that she was not alone. One evening, over shared pizza and quiet conversation, Maya realized that trust and friendship were powerful tools in her journey. The city's coldness remained, but within this circle, warmth blossomed like fragile spring flowers after a harsh winter. Her world was expanding beyond survival, embracing hope and connection. "We're in this together," a voice said softly, and Maya smiled, feeling the truth of it settle deep inside her. The faint aroma of melted cheese and tomato sauce lingered in the air, mingling with the soft murmur of laughter, a small sanctuary amid the city's bustle. During a particularly challenging exam week, Maya found herself overwhelmed. The pressure to succeed felt crushing, memories of the streets haunting her mind like unwelcome ghosts. One night she sat alone in the Foundation's library, the quiet broken only by the ticking clock and the scratch of pen on paper. Closing her eyes, Maya recalled her mother's words, "You are stronger than your circumstances." She took a deep breath, the scent of old books grounding her, steadying the storm within. Determined, Maya crafted a study plan, breaking down tasks into manageable pieces. She sought help when needed and allowed herself moments to rest, learning the delicate balance between pushing forward and self-care. When results came, Maya's grades had improved, a testament to her perseverance and hard work. The victory was small but significant, a proof that resilience could transform despair into achievement. Her confidence grew, and with it, a new vision for her life. Maya was no longer a victim of circumstance but an agent of her own future. "I can do this," she whispered, a smile touching her lips. The soft rustle of turning pages and the faint hum of the night outside seemed to echo her newfound resolve. Just as hope blossomed, a crisis struck. Maya's mother's health deteriorated rapidly, and hospital bills surged beyond what the Foundation could cover. The stress threatened to topple Maya's fragile progress, shadows creeping back into her days. One evening, Maya received a call from the hospital. Her mother needed immediate care, and Maya was the closest family member available. Torn between school and family, Maya faced an impossible choice, heart pounding with fear and guilt. The city's harsh reality slammed into her with brutal force. Doubt and fear clouded her mind. Would she lose everything she'd fought for? The dream of education and stability seemed to slip away like sand through trembling fingers. In the quiet of her room, Maya grappled with despair. Yet, beneath the turmoil, a fierce determination ignited. She refused to surrender. "I will find a way," she vowed, voice steady despite the tears. The distant wail of ambulance sirens underscored the urgency she felt, a reminder that life's challenges would not wait for her to be ready. Maya took a leave from classes to care for her mother, juggling hospital visits and late-night study sessions. Exhaustion and guilt weighed heavily, but she leaned on Ethan and Sarah for support, their presence a steady anchor. Ethan surprised her with a visit, bringing warm meals and words of encouragement. "We're in this together," he said firmly, his eyes filled with resolve. His presence reminded Maya that she was not alone in the fight. The Foundation organized a fundraiser to help cover medical expenses, rallying community support. Maya witnessed kindness in action, a powerful antidote to loneliness and fear. Though her academic progress slowed, Maya's spirit remained unbroken. She learned that setbacks were part of the journey, not the end. Her resolve deepened, fueled by love and the promise of a better future. The scent of warm soup and fresh bread Ethan brought filled her modest apartment, a small comfort amid the storm. As her mother's condition stabilized, Maya refocused on her studies with renewed vigor. She mapped out a plan to catch up, setting clear goals and timelines, each step a beat in her growing rhythm of hope. Ethan introduced Maya to influential figures in education and business, opening doors previously closed. She attended workshops and networking events, absorbing knowledge and confidence like sunlight. Maya's days filled with purposeful action, early mornings of study, afternoons volunteering, Evenings spent mentoring others facing homelessness. She transformed pain into purpose, her spirit weaving resilience into every fiber of her being. The city's streets, once a symbol of despair, now represented a backdrop for her transformation. Maya embraced the challenges ahead, ready to confront the final hurdles with courage. The smell of fresh coffee in bustling cafes and the vibrant chatter of people around her became the soundtrack of her new life. The day of the scholarship interview arrived, a chance to secure funding that would change Maya's life. The room was stark, walls adorned with diplomas and photographs of successful alumni, the air thick with quiet expectation. Ethan sat beside her, a steady presence. Maya's heart pounded, but she recalled every lesson, every moment of struggle and growth. She felt grounded, supported. The interviewers asked probing questions, seeking to understand Maya beyond her circumstances. She spoke honestly, her voice steady despite the stakes, weaving her story of hardship, hope, and determination. When the results were announced, Maya's name was called. Tears streamed down her face as the room erupted in applause. The scholarship was hers, a validation of her journey, a key to the future she had fought for. In that moment, Maya realized the power of resilience, kindness, and unwavering hope. "This is only the beginning," she whispered to herself. The soft murmur of congratulations and the warmth of the room enveloped her, marking a turning point she would never forget. With scholarship funds secured, Maya moved into a modest apartment provided by the foundation. The scent of fresh paint and sunlight streaming through the window symbolized a fresh start, a blank page waiting to be filled. She balanced classes, part-time work, and community service, determined to give back. Maya's relationships flourished. Ethan became a mentor, a steady guide, Sarah a lifelong friend, a sister in spirit. Her mother's health improved, a steady source of strength and motivation. Maya's dreams expanded, to graduate, to advocate for homeless students, to inspire others who walked paths like hers. The city no longer felt cold and unyielding but alive with possibility and promise. Maya's journey from the streets to the classroom was a testament to human spirit and the transformative power of compassion. The gentle hum of the city outside her window was no longer a reminder of hardship, but a rhythm of hope and renewal. Years later, Maya stood on a stage, accepting her diploma. The auditorium was filled with faces, friends, family, mentors who had witnessed her journey. The air buzzed with excitement and pride. Ethan sat proudly in the front row, a quiet smile on his face. Maya's heart swelled with gratitude. The paper cup she once held was a distant memory replaced by a future she had fought for. Her speech spoke of resilience, the importance of community, and the belief that no one's circumstances define their destiny. Her voice rang clear and strong, a beacon for all who listened. As applause filled the room, Maya looked out at the city skyline, the streets where her story began. She vowed to be a beacon of hope for others, a living proof that kindness and courage can change lives. The journey had been long and hard, but Maya's spirit had prevailed, stronger, wiser, and ready to embrace the endless possibilities ahead.